Thanks to the support as a channel member, Jacob Depew. Well, I think it's fair to say this season could not have started any better under any circumstances. This is awesome. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 24 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two games for you in the league. We're at home against Chelsea, away against Newcastle. And as you can see, we're second in the Premier League. Since you were last with me, this is what has gone on. We have been awesome, with the exception of this game against Portsmouth in the Moose Cup, which we managed to lose. We did put the reserves out in that game, so I was trying to be a bit fancy. And I say reserves, it's not a disastrously terrible team, but I think just rotating as much as we did maybe sent the wrong message to the boys, and we then went and lost against Arsenal straight after that as well. I was a little bit worried I'd ruined it all, but we turned it around with a victory over Wolves, victory over Everton, and most recently a draw against Norwich, which completes a fantastic start to the season. 8 games gone, 17 points on the board. That will do very nicely indeed. We are who are we playing? Chelsea. That's who we're playing. Are they, I mean, I was going to say, are they below us? Of course they're below us. Let's go and beat them, shall we? This is the team we're putting out there. It's all very familiar. We have a pretty settled team. There's probably a couple of backup options. Like there's one, it will either be De Klerk, Burns, Valenti at the back. It could be Reyes, it could be Watson up front. So there's a few potential rotations, a little bit of flexibility in midfield as well. But on the whole, these 11 are 11 of the like 14 or 15 that are starting every game and playing very well for us. So it's Blanco in goal, a back four of Ballo-Touré, Burns, De Klerk, Ramsey, Juan at the base of the midfield, Scott and Rafa ahead of him, Sartori on the left, Ross on the right, and Reyes is going to play up front. There's only really, I noticed on the top scorer charts in the Premier League, there's only really Erling Haaland scoring lots of goals this season in the Premier League. I think the third top scorer currently is on 4 goals. He doesn't play for us, but there is an opportunity for somebody like Reyes to grab a hat-trick today. I mean, he's probably not going to score a hat-trick against Chelsea, but the opportunity is there for anyone who wants to take it to establish themselves on the top scorer charts. So that's something to bear in mind, although probably not our primary concern when we're playing against a team like Chelsea. If we can just come away still in that top 4, that'd be delightful. I would like to clarify, we are not getting carried. Oh, my word. I was going to say we're not getting carried away. De Klerk with a thunderous header. Ramsey with the corner. A rare outswinger for us. We usually prefer the in-swinger. Ramsey is either-footed, so I thought he would do an in-swinger from either side, but apparently not. On the right-hand side, he'll use it. So he says he's either-footed, but clearly he's a right-footer because he's hit that right-footed from the right-hand side. But the outswinger has worked, and De Klerk, dominant in the air as he is, smashes it past the Chelsea goalkeeper to put us 1-0 up. And what I was trying to say before we rudely went and scored a goal and interrupted me is I'm not getting carried away. I'm not expecting us to qualify for the Champions League or anything like that this season. I am trying to be realistic. We'd like to finish in the top half of the table. If we can finish in the top half of the table, we'll be very happy. I think this young squad has potential, if we can keep them together, to eventually push on to that kind of level. Whether or not I'll still be at the club when that happens is another question, because surely at some point, clubs, not just in the Premier League, clubs around Europe, have got to start looking at how Preston are performing in the Premier League and wonder if it might be worth a go at bringing old Kev in for a manager's job. I've not had a single offer of an interview since I've been here yet, and I certainly am not of a mind to go looking because things are going so well at Preston. I'd be happy to stay, certainly for the foreseeable future, until I feel like we're hitting that ceiling and can't go any further. I'm not looking to move on. I'm a little bit surprised no one has offered me a job yet. But Ramsey with another outswinger. I tell you what, those outswingers are causing problems. De Klerk with the header, and then Reyes is brought over, and we've got a penalty here. And these corners, slightly different from what we're normally doing. I'm going to have to go and update my corner video already, but slightly different to our normal corners, and they are causing all kinds of problems. I don't know why Finley Burns is taking the penalty. It's a very good penalty. I don't think he's on my penalty taker list. I'm going to go and check just to make sure I've not lost my mind. Penalty taker list. That's not the normal penalty taker list. That's the penalty. That's weird. Why does it show me the penalty shootout thing? I mean, I guess he is the highest up the list according to that. Has the game changed? Why did that show me the penalty? I'm very confused. Right. 2-0 up at home against Chelsea. The good start to the season continues. Now we just need to not mess up from here. Chelsea trying to get things going down this right-hand side and have immediately got a goal back. And it was all very, very easy. Ballo-Touré didn't really seem to know how to deal with Mason Mount, and then Reece James pushed on beyond as well. And Ballo-Touré is very isolated and been doubled up on there. He's got no one helping him, and Kovacic is able to burst out of midfield. He actually did have, I think it was Juan tracking back with him, so he was being covered. But yeah, once Mount and James ganged up on Ballo-Touré, we didn't stand much of a chance. As it stands right now, I've just realised we are top of the Premier League as well. A quarter of the way through the season, we're top of the Premier League. Although if Chelsea score again here, that all changes. And they are looking most likely to. Kai Havertz with the header that goes just wide. Ever since that second goal, they seem to have woken up. Liverpool have actually moved back above us to the top of the table as well. I think we need the goal difference to move above them. We need to score. We're not trying to get to the top of the league. That would be madness. Right, Reyes has had a bit of a nothing day, so Watson can come on for him. Russell Ross, as with Reyes, they've both been similarly ineffectual, and we're going to bring on Oscar for Ballo-Touré as well. We've just seen Ballo-Touré get ruined. Oscar a little bit more defensively solid, and hopefully can deal with that threat on that side. Sartori has, I don't think he's picked up a knock. I think he's just tiring. So Sartori can come off for Antas. And for our final change, I think we take off Rafa, bring on Ericsson Moreno, who's not had much of an opportunity just yet, but was one of our summer signings. Should be another one off the Wonder Kid conveyor belt playing in central midfield. So we'll get him on and give him 10 minutes as well. Juan plays it forward to Scott. Scott playing it out, looking for Antas on this left-hand side, who's got past. In fact, Reece James has turned into James Justin at right back for Chelsea. And Antas has just got his first ever goal for the club by turning him inside out. It's lovely play for him. I was talking about Moreno as one of the new youngsters who's not really had a chance to shine yet. Antas definitely goes into that category as well. And that is the definition of shining. Does really well, brings the ball down, goes round his man, cuts inside, plays it across the goalkeeper into that far corner. Lovely football from Antas. It restores our 2-goal lead, which in turn restores us to the top of the Premier League. And it's Preston 3, Chelsea 1. And I mean, we've got a good team here, boys and girls. Anything could happen. Maybe we will go and win the league. Wouldn't that be a thing? So a couple of changes post-international break for the Newcastle game. Antas, after his performance, coming off the bench, is going to get a start for us. We're also bringing Harvey White back in the midfield. Valente and Oscar both coming in at the back. And it's been like 2 weeks. Lots of players. I think we had something like 19 players go off on international duty, which is... I think that might be the new highest number we've ever had disappear off gallivanting on their travels. But of course, that brings with it its own problems. We previously had a nice little bit of a rest, could maybe play a little friendly against a local team, rattle up some goals during these international breaks. Whereas now the entire squad disappears. They come back tired and we don't get to do the friendlies anymore. Having said all that, we've just won a penalty inside the first 30 seconds of this match. Reyes, for the second match in a row, is brought down in the penalty area. That should be a penalty. And it is a penalty. When it said at the bottom that Reyes went down like he'd been shot, I thought that meant the penalty wasn't being given. But Harvey White steps up, rolls it into the bottom corner, and we're 1-0 up. And oh my goodness me, the good run of form continues. I don't really know what to say. I see what people are saying in the comments about how this save seems to be going remarkably well this year. I don't really have a response for it or any kind of explanation. I don't feel like I'm doing anything massively different to what I normally do. We're prioritizing signing young players. If you compare the transfers we've done here at Preston compared to what we did this time last year when we got our big job early on at Peterborough, when we got Peterborough to the Premier League. And I feel like I did a very similar transfer window. I focused on young players. I think we've just had a little bit more luck that the young players we brought in have been of a higher standard. I think having Adam Eder was a big bonus, even though we've now somehow already moved on beyond him. I think that was a big bonus to help us stay up in the first half of last season. And then I think de Klerk has been a huge bonus. Finding Blanco has been a huge bonus. We definitely seem to have stumbled across a higher caliber of young, talented player this year. But it is bonkers how well it's going. Now, all that being said, we've just conceded a goal. Every time I talk positively, we seem to concede a goal. It happened against Chelsea, and it's happened again here. So maybe I'll stop being positive, and hopefully we'll hold on, because we're top of the Premier League right now. Yes, Liverpool have got 2 games in hand on us, but we're not going to get bogged down in those kind of details. We just want to end an episode top of the Premier League, because I don't think anyone, me included, expected that we'd ever be top of the Premier League with Preston North End. It's bonkers. 1-1 at half-time. I mean, can we grab a second goal and maybe do a... I mean, winning against Chelsea and Newcastle in one episode would be absolute madness. My mouse is about to run out of battery. Let's get the mouse plugged in. There we go. See, we even can do that. We can do everything with this Preston team. We're not even going to be phased by a mouse running out of battery. Right, let's make a couple of changes here. We've got some tired legs and an accumulation of yellow cards as well. Calvin Ramsey can come off. We're going to put de Klerk out to right back. Reyes has been really poor again. Watson can come on for him. Antas not quite enjoying his start, and Sartore's not on the bench. I'm actually going to bring on Tamang here and put Watson out onto this left-hand side. Watson supposedly can play striker, attacking midfielder, and left midfield, but not left wing, which seems bonkers. We're training him to play left wing because there's no reason why he can't play there. And fingers crossed he can go out there and do a decent job for us today. But we haven't really seen anything from Tamang yet. I know anyone who followed last year's non-league to legend is kind of hoping that this year's vintage of Tamang ends up as good as last year's. It's not been the case so far, but you never know. Maybe we see something from him today. And we're also going to bring on Rafa in midfield, swap White over there and get Rafa in for these final 10 minutes. Offer some encouragement. A draw here is fine. Like I say, we're not trying to win the league. If we can come to a place like Newcastle and pick up a draw, that's still points being accumulated as far as I'm concerned. It's not just us being mad either. Norwich are beating Manchester City currently. The whole Premier League has gone nuts. And now we're going to lose. After all that, we're going to lose. Very sad. Right, I've already made all my changes as well. Maybe we shouldn't have faffed about bringing Tamang up front and that kind of thing. We're developing young players. It's fine. We've got a nice little points cushion to work with. Liverpool are laughing because no one seems to be giving them any kind of competition this season, and that is very much a top 4 of the Premier League. It is leaning quite heavily towards the northwest of England. Where are all the London teams? Where have they gone? We're second in them. I will take it. We are second in the Premier League. Long may it continue. I don't know how much longer this form can continue, and I'm just going to continue laughing and smiling and enjoying it while it happens. And I fully expect in the next episode or 2 a job offer. It just feels like time. I'm not going to go and look for one because I'm happy at Preston. I do feel like there must be an offer incoming. The first Premier League team to sack a manager has got to be looking at me thinking, maybe. I'm looking at this. I mean, there's not even a really big option at Tottenham or Arsenal, I guess, are the 2 obvious ones. That'd be an interesting choice if I had to pick between the 2. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.